I had a moment of wonder today when a friend's son visited us today. He's probably about 10 to 12 or, 12 or 13, and that boy could sing. He's mentally disabled. He has got Down syndrome, but he sings all songs, like in a Korean, Japanese, any songs. He's so fascinated with singing.
Yeah,
So there is no language. He doesn't have to pay attention to the words or language, but it's like a sound. That's how he can repeat it exactly same.
yeah, yes, true. That is
If we
answer. That's an answer to Parvati only. So when I go deeply, okay, further, first of all, Carl Jung, the great psychologist of the past, he interacting with, so when you said the Down syndrome, most of the psychologists were interacting with the so-called patients.
mm,
So interacting with the patients, Jung developed an entire detailed series of uh, ideas or theory, which talked very, what you call, very certainly what he called archetypes. You can refer to that in the chat GPT and get more knowledge about that. Archetypal symbols. That is, most of them were clearly identified and he named all the symbols, most of them. But there are, of course, thousands of them. And most of these archetypal symbols were identified from the dreams of people. Because the dreams of the so-called mentally disturbed people will always carry a unique difference from the dreams of the so-called normal people. Okay? Because their dreams will be always a victim of the simplicity and conformity and self-doubt and fear of humiliation and fear of failure and fear of lowness and rigidities and avoidable sensitivity distortions. So, for example, when I read Sigmund Freud, the interpretation of dreams, it is nothing but, there is nothing, no clues about interpretation. These are all nothing but reports of the dreams of mental patients only, hundreds of them. And when I read it, it's all very strange, stranger than fiction, the dreams of the so-called mental patients.
So how he would have extracted that information from the mental patients by hypnosis?
No, that question is too deep. No, he did not extract. The patient will describe the dreams,
Mm,
either consciously, like you can describe a dream,
mhm.
or as I told you, the dreams of so-called mentally varied people will be of a different modality. It will have a different kind of a clarity and significance of signals and symbols contained in that, or the details of the events in that. So they would report it straight, or they would narrate in hypnotic sleep, much more clearly and in much more detail. That's all about it. Not much of extraction and all. But what Jung did, Carl Gustav Jung did is extraction of what? What he called symbols or archetypes. And from there, Jung went further to propose a concept called collective unconscious and even historical consciousness. So thereby he finds comparison between what the West thought about, comparison with what the East, our Eastern mystics thought about divinity of genuineness, you know. So in the dreams, some persons contained archetypal images of such a clarity that, for example, a certain symbol existed some centuries back, which is the so-called patient has never seen directly, read in a book or seen. Yeah. So collective unconscious. We are also the victim of collective unconscious gradually because our development contained feedback from the people. If you really record, you see, you do not have a recording of what people told you over the last 30, 40 years. What do you think they are? The stories you read, the poetry you said, the teachers what they said, your peers what they reported, what the parents reported, what the media reported, what all exposures, the so-called recordings or the so-called knowing contain maybe 95% of those knowing only, those items only, those messages only. That is how fears and anxieties or what Freud called the free floating anxieties are generated into the so-called mind, which is nothing but an energy field. Whatever we name as mind is nothing but an energy field. Again, a template, okay, a huge, vast, multi-dimensional template continuously generated and maintained by the physiological or anatomical process of the cellular system and the huge cellular assemblages, where what you call uh, unlimited or countless number of knowings are registered. And most of the knowings were having what you call linkages with differential states of so-called emotions or energy flows, FLOWs, instead of flowing straight to the ocean, instead of remaining like a, what you call calm water, they were all influenced, their flows are all influenced by varied terrains of contents in the energy field called mind. Are you getting a picture of what I'm talking?
Yeah. And then when we use the ERBARD theory and remove all that, whatever pops in the mind, then remains actually nothing. But it's very hard for me to eliminate the reference, the mental images. It doesn't go away.
Parvati, what are you telling? You're telling that it is hard to identify the reference of the varied thoughts that are running through the mind.
No, when a thought arises, I can go back to the ERBARD theory and just eliminate all that. And the thought and the emotions thereby will get cancelled. But it's very hard to eliminate the picture, the referent, the picture that
Certain
comes in
thoughts,
mind.
of certain thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, because that picture or a visual has much more linkages.
Yeah.
The other is a thought has only what? A set of words, the syntax of which are a little bit vague when it is running only through the thoughts of the mind. Okay, that's all. That's very limited in scope and content. Whereas a visual, like any visual, will have unlimited linkages.
Mm.
So it is a little difficult to detach from that, to decipher your separation from that. Yeah, that's true. Like if you look at the parable of the Zen masters and the girl, hmm,
Mm.
the senior monk uh, held the girl, placed her near his body, hmm, and dropped her after crossing the patch of water. The junior monk only saw that.
Yeah.
He saw that.
Mm.
That is the problem. Seeing that, every second it generated multiple linkages of the Zen tradition and the required level of expressions and responses and behaviors and actions and relationship of a senior Zen monk. Hmm? All these are being processed in him only. Whereas the senior monk took the girl, placed her nearby, and he might have felt the warmth of a female body, perhaps we are not sure. That's all. And 5 minutes, the patch of water is crossed, and he placed her down, her down. But the observer, the junior monk, in that 5 minutes of time, he had a shocking visual. He had only seen that. And rest he would have imagined, imagination and visuals. Okay. He would have imagined what the senior monk might have perhaps felt when a young female body was touching close to his body, which is relatively perhaps which has never touched another female body before. So he might have thought that it was generated some kind of a pleasure feeling in him, etc., etc. That's why it is prohibited or forbidden in the Zen tradition. Hmm? Hmm? And such a big monk, such a celebrated monk, such a glorious monk has done that, etc., 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 etc. Thoughts travel in greater speed to collect all the possible, probable variants that can be linked with the invariant of what he observed. So he was carrying a greater load. So, and further, the remaining hours of their travel to the next station of rest, he might have been again what you call replaying those things, you know. They became much more reinforced. I'm just talking only about the parable. So the senior monk said, okay, I carried the girl there and I dropped her there. But are you still carrying her? Actually, he is the one who is carrying the heavy load of perceptions and thoughts connected with the direct visual experience of what happened in the cart. So it was not at all easy for him to drop that girl, no doubt about it. But because of his background and because the way it was communicated by the Zen monk, uh, perhaps it would have instantly clicked him. And according to the parable, he instantly got enlightened and bowed down. Bowed. But for other cases, if a visual, because it's a visual, the reference, definitely it will have a much more reinforced set of linkage network inside your so-called energy field called mind. So that's all. So just cannot do anything. So you have to become the senior monk at that time.
Mhm. But it's not a conscious decision to drop the girl all the time. It just linger on, and that is what bothers.
Yeah. Uh, you have to take the conscious choice and decision to
Mm.
drop a disturbing visual of a girl. You have to do that. And that
Yes.
is not impossible, no doubt about that. As I was talking to somebody yesterday, drop the girl. So you understand the parable, you feel the reality of the requirement of that dropping of the girl.
Mm.
And when you start doing it, do not again expect results immediately. Like a little
Yeah.
boy planting a sapling and every day plucking it and seeing whether the roots have grown. So allow some time.
Yeah.
Definitely it will go.
Maybe first time drop after a couple of hours, then
Yeah,
slowly make it 1 hour, 10 minutes, drop
and
the girl.
several methods also. You can read something, you can listen to music, or you can go for a walk,
Yeah.
or you can start writing something.
Yeah. Writing helps many times.
Writing is definitely more important than reading.
Mm.
Because in the process of writing, your visual cortex is involved, which is a huge body in the brain. Then the motor cortex is involved for continuing the movement of writing. Then the frontal lobe is involved to think what is to be written. See,
Yes. It gives
major
a flow.
areas of the brain, three major significant areas of the brain are directly involved in the process of writing.
Mm.
I'm not talking about creative writing, just writing a daily diary. It is wonderfully important.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have last 3 4 years writing like that.
Yeah,
So
good, very good, very good. And
yeah.
I'm sure you will be writing wonderful ideas in that, no doubt.
I haven't actually gone back and read it. Like, I've kept it year by year. So maybe sometime later I will do that.
Do that once in a while, pass through, glance through significant pages.
Mm,
It will be the most enjoyable experience for you.
mm. Yeah. It will be a kind of dropping the girl experience also. Whatever was so significant at some times, and it becomes totally irrelevant after the time passes.
And of
So,
course, there is so much of practical endurance also.
mm,
Even if you have written only daily chores, even that would be of interest.
yeah,
Some
yeah. Does it
today,
matter after 1 year or does it matter after 5 years? Does it
yeah.
matter after 10 years? No, then.